The so-called politics of the California prison system, which is the largest in the country, as California is the largest state in the country, are really centered around two things: race and gangs. And there's a lot of YouTubers and other people talking about prison stuff, and California, you know, is number one on the list. And I thought it would be good to give a kind of a more accurate and general overview of the situation. So let's begin at the beginning and with Black and White, Aryan Brotherhood and the Black Guerrilla Family.
The guards at San Quentin have their own way of describing the mood of the inmates. They call it the climate on the inside. And this summer, the climate is hot. 1 white and 2 black prisoners have been killed. 14 inmates have been stabbed. And even moderate convict leaders concede the situation has sometimes become a race war.
It used to be a certain group against another group, you know, the Nazis against the Muslims. But now it's a black face against a white face, and everyone is a target.
Now, if you're a black man, it don't make any difference what clique you belong to. As long as you're black, you're going to get hit. If you're a white man, it don't make any difference what your age or what clique, you're going to get hit.
And in the late 60s, of course, desegregation is going on around the country, and that desegregation came to San Quentin and California State Prison as well, and it caused a lot of violence. And by the late 60s, you had, along with the Mexican gangs that had formed, we'll talk about those in another episode, you had the Aryan Brotherhood, which is ostensibly formed for the protection of white inmates, and the BGF, the Black Guerrilla Family, which at the very beginning it was intertwined with the Black Panthers and had a Marxist-Leninist ideology. The BGF would protect certain white radicals that came into California prison system, and its symbol is a dragon, I think, attacking a prison gun tower. So it was like an anti-government thing, you know.
But some accuse the prison guards of stirring up the race trouble, of sneaking in narcotics and weapons.
The police officers that work here bring their prejudice in from the street. The same guy that brings in dope, that will bring in any other thing, was the same guy that will bring in knives and supply it with other sides and keep this stuff going.
If you can live together, you live together, but when you got bulls telling you, get this black when it gets down, or another bull telling the blacks, get this white when you get down, you can't stop nothing.
Talking about guards.
I'm talking about guards, yeah, bulls, yeah.
But of course, as the years pass, society changes and the phenomena that are going on evolve, and those two groups have evolved. And there's so many different stories to tell. I'm just going to give kind of a selected highlight reel to give a flavor of the situation.
Well, sooner or later, and hopefully sooner, the inmates will come to the realization that they've got to live together. We have had the Ku Klux Klan or the Nazis and the black militants sitting down together and talking. We have done better than they have in civilization on the outside, I believe.
So the Aryan Brotherhood is probably kind of the most frightening set of people, or prison gang people, of all. A lot of them seem to be just into violence for violence sake. I mean, you can read quotes from many of them like that. And because they felt that the white inmates, there were less of them, they had to really set a mark of an intimidation through brutal murders. In the earlier years, a lot of those murders were of black inmates and etc. But in all their RICO cases in recent years and all the murder charges against Aryan Brotherhood members, most of them, certainly not all, are against other white inmates. Of course, the nature of white inmates is a little different than black and Latino. It's a little harder to go to jail as a white man in the United States. So who are the white men in maximum security prisons in California? Well, they're white inmates in general, in my experience, are a little more, it's a dichotomy. So you have a small amount of them that are like some of the most hardcore, serious inmates, troubled people, or people who have chosen to live a life of crime and do a lot of serious things. And then you got a lot of people like everyone else, drug addicts, kids from some suburb who decided to break in some houses, and they find themselves in an environment which they have no context for which to deal with. And, you know, they seek out protection from people like Aryan Brotherhood or other prison gangs or people under their umbrella in California.
But here's where things get interesting. 13 of the people being indicted are female corrections officers. You know, the ones running the jail. The guards allegedly helped leaders of the Black Guerrilla Family run their criminal enterprise in jail by smuggling cell phones, prescription pills, and other contraband in their underwear, shoes, and hair.
Today you might know of the BGF, the Black Guerrilla Family, as the California prison group allegedly, or in the context of Baltimore and Maryland, where they have a lot of power, and it's unclear how those two groups are related. And the Baltimore police says they're a street gang as well. There was a big indictment not too long ago, or a few years back, of a BGF leader in the Baltimore jail who I think he impregnated 4 different guards.
4 of those corrections officers became pregnant by one inmate in particular, one of them with 2 of his kids, while he was serving time behind bars. Another 2 got the inmate's name actually tattooed on their bodies.
They were flooding the jail with drugs, murders on the street. The FBI surveilled meetings in parks in Baltimore with 100 BGF members, you know, street gang members, you know, having outdoor meetings. It sounded like a scene from The Warriors. And how they're connected to the original BGF, boy, that's pretty complicated, and who knows what the truth is.
Mr. Wells? Mr. Mill? Mr. Skoll? And Mr. Lawford?
Now, the BGF was formed by George Jackson and a few others in the late 60s in San Quentin, and it was very political. While in prison as a young guy, George Jackson was appointed field marshal by the Oakland chapter of the Black Panther Party and was tasked with recruiting prisoners into the Black Panther Party. Communist ideology heavily informed the early BGF. I met Marx, Lenin, Trotsky, Engels, and Mao while in prison, George Jackson said, and they redeemed me. As a quick aside, there's also the issue of prison guards, and it's always said that, or I've heard it said many times, that like the white inmates, especially the Aryan Brotherhood, or even in the state of Michigan where I'm from, if you're in a place where there's a lot of white guards and not a lot of white inmates, it's said that the white guards will help the white inmates smuggle in weapons and other things. And one of the big incidents in the late 60s at San Quentin is tied in with this. There was a day where something like 14 black inmates and 2 or 3 white inmates were put out on the exercise yard and started fighting, and a white prison guard shot and killed 3 of the black inmates. So then a couple days later, a white prison guard was thrown off a tier at San Quentin to his death, and the people charged with the case, whose names were George Jackson, Fleta Drumgo, and John Cletchett. George Jackson, that's where he became, along with the others, known as the Soledad Brother. Soledad Brother was a book that a lawyer, white female lawyer, helped him get published that became a big cause célèbre and made him very famous. So George Jackson was ready to get out of prison by any means necessary, and his family was ready to get him out of prison by any means necessary. And